Welcome to Neo Royal House of Pricey Cardboard. On today's episode of Commander Gameplay, I have the pleasure to present you my newest deck, Shadrix Silverquill, right out of Strixhaven. My Azor the Lawbringer deck has been on its box for too long, and this new twist on my Voltron deck seems like a lot of fun. This video, as all our content, is supported by our amazing Patreons. We still have the ongoing goal of reaching 20 Patreons, and when we do so, I will be uploading an additional video each month. So if you like what you see and you would like to support, you can find the link in the description. Joining me today for the match, I have three amazing guests. New to the channel, we have Gabe, also known as ICETEP. Great EDH player, he is also an artist releasing music on Spotify. Check him out, the link will be in the description. Next, my returning guests today are Peter, known as MonoWhiteBorder and MrFitztyFitz. Check them out on Twitter and follow Peter's blog for out-of-the-box EDH adventures. I'm facing Peter's Radiant Archangel deck again. This is a flying tribal deck looking to slow his opponents with Hatebears and control the board while always generating value in the form of death triggers or tokens. Radiant is an interesting Voltron commander because she rewards you for going wide with multiple creatures. Next, Gabe will be playing his Toggo and Silas partner deck. This deck is a pretty wild mix of ideas, looking to use mostly artifact synergies and a little bit of landfall to first control the board with Deathtouch rocks, and then find some kind of big finisher with the different powerful pieces of the deck. These include, but are not limited to, Mycosynth Lattice, Godot, Tergrid, or Urza. Fitz brought to the table is Grothama, all Devoring. The goal of this deck is to ramp and draw a ton using Grothama's own ability or his ridiculous cost to power ratio, and then drop massive creatures that are hard to deal with because of Indestructible or Regeneration. He runs a lot of fight spells as removals to stay on team with his commander. Finally, my Shadrix Silverquill list is mainly a Voltron strategy, looking to slow the board down with Hatebears or repeatable damage activations like Pestilence until my double striking dragon can take everyone out. I also have a keyword soup package with Odric and Acroma to turn my Hatebears into bigger threat. I couldn't fit Elesh Norn in my decks for the longest time, and now I have finally a deck where she is perfect. I have only my opening hand, which is Blessing of Leeches, Always Watching, Sword of the Animist, Soul Ring, and 3 basic snow-covered swamps. Gabe gets to start this off, and land drops a Seat of the Synod. Peter land drops a Plains, and I land drop Terrain Generator. Fitz land drops a Forest, and drew into the perfect card for his 6 lands hand, Exploration. He land drops a second Forest, and pass. Gabe land drops an Island, and casts Rakdos Signet. Peter land drops a Plains, and I managed to do the same through the power of top deck. I then cast Soul Ring and pass. Fitz land drops 2 forests and ships the turn to Gabe. Gabe casts his first commander, Toggo, Goblin Weaponsmith.
Everyone has a plan until they get hit by a rock. Take that!
He land drops Buried Ruins, triggering Toggo. He creates an equipment rock token. Peter land drops a Plains, and casts Mentor of the Meek. At the end step, I activate my Terrain Generator to put a basic snow-covered swamp on the field tapped. I then untap and land drop another swamp. I cast my commander, Shadrix Silverquill. My commander then triggers at the beginning of combat, and I draw a card losing 1 life, while Fitz can put a +1/+1 counter on all his creatures. Yes, each and every one of them. I then pass. Fitz then drops 2 more forests, and casts his commander, Grothama, all Devoring. Gabe then drops a swamp, getting a second rock.
I'll play a swamp, make another rock. I got these rocks from Stinson Beach.
He casts his second commander, Silas, Renn, Seeker, Adept. You know what, Toggo? These rocks might just do the trick. Peter then drops a Ghost Town, and casts Smothering Tide. I draw for turn and give Peter a treasure. I then drop a Plains and cast Sword of the Animist. I then equip it to Shadrix and go to combat, triggering my commander. I let Peter put +1/+1s on his creatures and I draw a card. Shadrix then goes to Gabe. Attacking, I get a basic plains from my deck to the battlefield. Fitz draws for turn, and then drops a forest and a wirewood lodge.
You've drawn no extra cards, right? So
Yeah.
you've just been drawing lands this entire time.
I've just been drawing lands and playing lands. That's what I've been doing. I mean, I get to play my cards when I draw them.
That's true.
I got the mana. I got resources. I recast Grothama over and over again.
Heading into combat, Grothama attacks Peter for a massive 10 commander damage.
Keep drawing, thinking about whether I want to pay the tithe. I will not pay the tithe. Sorry, everyone.
It's okay, it's quite
I
expensive.
didn't either, and I didn't even cast a spell.
Right.
I'll play this.
Gabe then drops Shinka, the blood-soaked keep, triggering Toggo. He then casts Goblin Engineer. Entering the battlefield, he puts to graveyard Tomatic Compass. He follows it up with Master of Ethereum, and ends his turn. Peter casts Felidar Retreat. He then drops a plains and up to create a cat beast token, paying the 1 to draw with the mentor as the creature enters the battlefield. He casts Kenji's Lieutenant, drawing with his mentor again. For his combat step, he sends the mentor to me. On my turn, I cast Species Specialist. Entering the battlefield, I name cats.
Sweet.
I then cast Bloodforged Battle Axe. Going to combat, Shadrix triggers. I give counters to Fitz and draw a card. I then send my commander to Gabe, getting a basic on attack. I'm gonna send Shadrix to Gabe again.
I would really like you to not do this.
Well, I don't really like the Deathtouch rock thrower.
He will not be your hostage.
Reacting to attackers, Gabe activates the rock on Silas, targeting my commander. As Silas has Deathtouch, this would destroy the creature. I react by casting Blessing of Leeches, and pay 0 to regenerate it. This will protect my commander but take it out of combat. I then go to end my turn, but at the end step, Fitz casts Momentous Fall, sacrificing Grothama for 11 cards and 9 life. He pays for 2 Smothering Tithe, and Peter creates 9 treasures.
I'm actually playing 0 board wipes in this deck. I wanted to play a bunch of fight cards because I think it's a cool mechanic.
On his turn, Fitz then drops 2 forests, and casts Asceticism, and then Lightning Greaves. Finally, he casts Selvala, Heart of the Wild. He equips the boots to her and pass.
We're friends, Peter.
Yeah.
I ran up to you 9
I guess
times.
I guess I won't pay for a Smothering Tithe so you can have your
He's
thing.
got infinite mana.
So I guess I need to give Gabe a break since Peter and Fitz are together.
I would appreciate it.
I've declared no alliances.
Gabe casts Burnished Heart, and cracks it immediately for 2 basics, getting 2 rocks. At the end step, Peter returns Ghost Sound to his hand. He draws for turn and casts Angelic Guardian. He heads into combat, sending the Mentor, the Cat, and the Lieutenant to Fitz. This triggers the Guardian, making them indestructible until end of turn. In second main, Peter casts Kurtar's Wrath, which, in a twisted turn of events, prevents regeneration. I opt to send my commander to the graveyard. Peter then drops Ghost Sound, getting another cat beast. He cycles Schedule Step and pass. I draw for turn and pay for tithe. I then cast Command the Dread Horde, targeting my commander and Selvala, taking 8 to reanimate them. I didn't realize that I couldn't activate Selvala, but it hits me soon after. I then equip the Bloodforged Axe on my commander and go to combat. Shadrix triggers and I generously give counters to Fitz's creature while I draw a card. We then go to Fitz's turn and he land drops a forest and a high market. He casts Elemental Bond, followed by his commander, drawing a card on ETB from the bond and from Selvala. He equips the boots on Grothama and go to combat. Grothama attacks Peter, who blocks with a cat. On his turn, Gabe casts Angerback Walker where X equals 2. At the end step, Peter cycles Akroma's Vengeance. He then draws for his turn and then drops a plains. Felidar Retreat gives him another cat and he draws with the Mentor. He then goes to combat and full swing to fight Grothama with his board. Reacting to the fight triggers, Gabe casts Weir of Invention, For x equals 6, he searches for a bit and gets Forsaken Monument on the battlefield. The fight then resolves, everything dies, and Peter draws 9 cards. In second main, Peter casts Bygone Bishop. He followed it up with Tocatli Honor Guard, getting a clue token on cast. He then casts Endless Horizons.
How many? All of them?
No, I'm not gonna do all of them. You can't be trusted. I'll do 5 of them.
Peter discards 2 end size and passes. I pay for Tithe and land drop a swamp. I cast Gilded Lotus and then Withering Wisps, the only reason I need Snow-Covered Swamp for this deck. I then equip the Sword of the Animus on Shadrix and head into combat. I choose the modes to give counters to Fitz and draw a card for my commander.
I'll go to combat, get a Shadrix trigger, gonna give counters to Fitz again. I will draw a card.
So generous with those.
I know, right?
Shadrix attacks Fitz for 10. I get a swamp on attack and then 2 token battle axes on damage. I pass after that. At Fitz's upkeep, he casts Beast Within to destroy the Smothering Tithe. He then draws for turn 3 of all taxes. He casts Stout Vessel and then Overgrowth. After that, he casts Greater Good, and land drops an Oran Reef the Vastwood before passing the turn. Gabe casts Cliffhaven Kite Sail. On cast, he gains 2 life from the monument, and entering the battlefield, it equips itself to the Angerback Walker. He then sacrifices the Buried Ruins to return an artifact to hand and pass. Peter gets a Plains from the Horizon and a card for turn. He land drops the Plains and put a +1/+1 counter on all these creatures, granting them Vigilance as well. He goes to combat, sending the Bishop, the Beast and the Honor Guard to me. I'm not too sure exactly what went wrong, but Peter said he messed up his play and just passed the turn discarding 2 end size. He told me later that he had close to lethal on me with the Kenji's Lieutenant Encore ability. On my turn, I land drop another Snow-Covered Swamp and cast Always Watching. I then follow it up with the Elesh Norn Grand Cenobite. After that, I equip a Bloodforge Axe to Selvala and go to combat. Shadrix triggers and I give the counters to Fitz again while I draw. I then send my commander to Fitz and Selvala to Peter. Before blockers, I activate the Withering Wisps 2 times, dealing 2 damage to all creatures and players. This, with the static -2/-2 from Elesh Norn, will take care of Peter's blockers. Reacting to the second activation, Gabe gives his Angerback Walker an additional +1/+1 counter. Fitz is taken out by my commander damage and Peter takes 6. I create 2 additional Bloodforge Axes and loses Selvala as its owner is no longer in the game. In second main, I activate the Wisp an additional time to get rid of the Angerback Walker. On his turn, Gabe tries to equip a rock to one of his top tier, but feeling like this will be coming my way, I activate the Wisp in reaction. After that, he casts Krark-Clan Ironwork. He then sacrifices a rock for 2 mana and casts Thaumatic Compass. He sacks a second rock and activates the compass, searching for an island and playing it for turn. After that, he sacrifices another rock and casts Key to the City. He then passes. On his turn, Peter casts Descend upon the Sinful.
I'm going to cast Descend upon the Simple for 6.
Oh no.
Peter meets the Delirium requirements and creates a 4/4 Angel. He then land drops a Plains and creates a cat. He discards 2 end size and passes. I land drop Nykthos Shrine to Nyx and cast Relic of Progenitus. I then recast Shadrix and equip the Sword of the Animus alongside 2 axes on the Elder Dragon. At the beginning of combat, I give counters to Gabe and draw a card. I then try to end my turn, but Gabe has an action at the end step. He casts Paradoxical Outcome, returning to his hand 3 artifacts to draw 3 cards. Going to Gabe's turn, we remember to flip the compass into Spires of Araska. He land drops Inventor's Fair and casts Godo Bandit Warlord. Peter has a reaction and casts Haven Mind Sensor. Gabe then searches his top 4 and manages to reveal Cranial Plating.
Not too bad.
Yeah, you're not supposed to hit still.
Sorry.
After that, he casts Cliffhaven Kite Sail, and it equips itself to Godo as it enters the battlefield. He then recasts Rakdos Signet and pass. Peter gets a Plains and a draw. He embalms Angel of Sanctions. Entering the battlefield, Peter targets the Withering Wisps. I react to the target by activating the Wisp 4 times. The Angel dies and I get to keep my enchantment. Peter then land drops Arch of Araska, getting a cat and City's Blessing. I go to my turn and land drop a Plains. I cast Bastion Protector, and then crack my relic, exiling all graveyards and drawing a card. Once this is done, I head into combat. Shadrix triggers for a card and I give counters to Gabe. I send Shadrix to Peter. Reacting to attackers, Peter flashes in Hushwing Griff.
I'm having flashbacks. Flashing thing, but it has no impact. Can I go blocks?
No, I will kill it before. It's 1 toughness?
But I activate the Wisp once more to get rid of it before blockers. Peter then takes 20 damage, joining Fitz in the Silverquill trophy room. I get a land on attack and 4 axes on damage.
I was wondering if Gabe would save you.
No, he stifled, or he tried to mess up my Godo trigger, so he doesn't get the...
In second main, I equip 3 axes on Bastion Protector, before casting God Eternal Okitra. I then pass. At Gabe's upkeep, he gains a life through Inventor's Fair. He then cracks the Fair to tutor for an artifact, and puts Bolas Citadel to his hand. He sacrifices the Kite for 2 colorless and casts Indomitable Creativity, where X equals 3, targeting his own stuff. He flips into Exit Signet, pitting Needle and Goblin Wielder. As the Needle enters the battlefield, Gabe thinks about the cards that he wants to name. He thinks about the Wisps and I cross my finger wishing he doesn't think about the battle axis. But then, something terrible happens.
I don't know what the best target is. Maybe the Wisps? Or
Wisp is good.
Shadow Silverquill? I guess it's a trigger to
The
play.
trigger.
Yeah.
Well, if you
Bloodforged Battle Axe.
say Bloodforge Battle Axe, they're locked. They're locked.
That's
into
Can't equip them.
yeah, that's a good idea. Why don't I do that? I'll name Bloodforged Battle Axe. Yes, thank you.
The ghost of Fitz whispers to Gabe and he listens. He then land drops Saprazan Scary and passes the turn. On my turn, I cast Odric Leonard Marshall. Okitra triggers and creates a 4/4 zombie with vigilance. I then cast Atrios God of Passage. I activate the Wisp one more time to remove the Welder. Going to combat, Shadrix triggers, and I make myself a 2/1 Inkling token with flying while I gift counters to Gabe. Odric also triggers, sharing the keywords. I send Shadrix, Okitra, and Bastion Protector to Gabe. He uses the Spire of Araska to remove my commander from combat. He then takes 28 damage. I get an end on attack and 6 more axes. Gabe untaps and casts Scrap Mastery. I have nothing in my grave, so I just sacks all my artifacts. On his side, Gabe gets back the Signet, the Ironwork, the Kite, and the Cranial Plating. He sacks 3 of them for colorless and casts Mikosin's Lattice. He then casts Bolas Citadel. He casts Sahili's Directive from the top of his deck, where X equals 0. Now that the Mikosin's Lattice makes his land artifacts, he proceeds to sacrifice his land to cast the following: Key to the City, then Storm the Vault. He recasts Toggo, and land drops an island from the top of his deck, creating a rock. He then casts Silas Renn, and end up with 8 permanents and no more mana, giving me the game. Well played. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Consider subscribing if you are not already to help us reach the goal of 1,000 subs. I plan on doing a giveaway to celebrate when we reach it. Make sure to check my guests on their different socials. Gabe's music will be down below, Peter's blog and Fitz's Twitter will be there as well. Take care my friend and we'll see you very soon.